Hi everyone, welcome back. Some of you may have seen from posts here or on my other social media that last week I went to the Tokyo Game Music Show. This is like comic market for game music composers, so they are all there with their booths and they sell their CDs. And you can go up, directly and kind of talk with them and chat with them and get signatures if you want. It's a really big deal for me personally because, I love video game music and you can meet some legends here, and so it's something that I've been looking forward to for months. I almost didn't get to go. Some of you may have also seen I made a post that just a week before I got the horrible case of the flu. It was just awful, and it was like a week before, so I'm thinking, okay, well, it's good that it's happening now. I'll be better in a couple days, and it kind of dragged out for a bit longer than usual, but I was okay, totally back to normal, and I made it there and had a blast. So today in this episode I would like to introduce some of the CDs that I picked up while I was at Tokyo Game Music Show. I got some really interesting stuff from some really amazing people, so let's get straight into those. First CD I bought was by Naruke Michiko. If you don't recognize that name, she wrote the music for most of the Wild Arms games, 1, 2, and 3, and probably the other ones as well. So she's, a huge person in video game music, and I do like the music in Wild Arms, but kind of what I was really acquainted with her for was some of the earlier stuff that she did with Telenet. Yeah, she was actually doing some music for Telenet games, the company that I love so much that did Valis. Her main stuff was these two RPGs on the PC Engine called Tenshi no Uta 1 and 2. And she also did Psycho Dream on the Super Famicom, which I absolutely love. So I always go see her when I go there, and I bought this CD from her. This was the only one she was selling this time around. It's called Assort 2. It's an acronym, although I don't know what it stands for, and it contains 4 tracks, and she told me that they were vocal tracks. The last 2 are vocal tracks. The first one has a tiny bit of singing in the beginning, but not really. The first 2 are pretty much instrumentals, the last 2 are vocal songs. To be honest, it's not really the kind of music that I would listen to usually. It sounds like, I don't know what they're from, if they were from some games that she just did a couple songs for, or if they were like leftover, unused songs. But, they sound like anime intro themes or, role-playing game intro songs, basically. But they're very well done. To be honest, the second track, which is, the instrumental track, is my favorite one because it sounds a lot like Tenshi no Uta, actually. It's quite similar, despite the fact that it's, orchestral kind of music, which is not something I usually listen to. It's really good. It's just very smooth, but there's a uniqueness to it. She has sort of this kind of individual harmonic progression, I think, that she does. So, of course, I'm not expecting anything from these, to be honest. I just want to go and support them. So, got that. Next, and this was really the biggest thing as far as purchases, things that I was buying, or releases. This is the new Blind Spot CD. This is Blind Spot 4. In the unlikely and unfortunate case you haven't heard about it, Blind Spot is basically Sega's band, s.s.t band, reformed. There's only 2 of the original members. The person who's leading it is that main guitarist, Namiki Koichi. But they have been performing again. They've been making new studio albums. Hopefully you saw this last year, that I got Blind Spot 3, I think, at Tokyo Game Music Show in 2019. And just like a week or 2 before I actually went, I saw a post on Twitter showing that Blind Spot 4 was ready to go and would be sold there, and I had absolutely no idea they were recording again. I mean, to get 2 new studio albums from them is a miracle, and yet another. So obviously, this was kind of the thing that I was most looking forward to buying. As the other 2, they're half arrangements of old Sega songs, from Sega's games, a lot of arcade stuff that I'm into, and then the other half is their new original compositions, written by the band members, Namiki Koichi and the other people also. And I've got to tell you, this one is extraordinary. Blind Spot 4 is crazy good. I mean, the other 2 are very good. They're great. Blind Spot 2 had a song from Quartet, which I absolutely love, so just immediately that's good. And their original compositions have always been really strong also. I think this one might be far and away the best that they've done since reforming. Like, the mixing is getting better. Like, it's been good before, again, but it's just, like, so clean. It's just become, like, they've got it down, you know, where, like, things just, you know, seem together very nicely. And the tracks, they're going for a more rock, you know, just kind of straightforward style, which I really like in some cases, but there's variety, too. Like, the songs that they arranged, the old Sega songs, Turbo Outrun, which is one that I love, Virtua Racing, which, you know, is pretty dope, G-Loc, that's totally up my alley. And even the Daytona USA song, the Sky High, the vocal track, is super clean. So this one, like, I mean, blew me away. I mean, it's Blind Spot, so it's s.s.t. basically. Of course I'm gonna like it, but it's amazing. I think it's definitely their best one. So I've been really impressed and excited about this. They also arranged Dreams from Nights, the vocal track. I mean, it's not something I would have chosen, but I can see why they did it. It's kind of cool, you know. So that was definitely worth the money. Next up, this is one from Betta Flash. Again, if you don't know what Betta Flash is, there was a game music composer, this lady Tamayo Kawamoto. She's one of my favorite musicians ever. She wrote the music for Forgotten Worlds, some other early Capcom arcade music, Last Duel, Son, I think Black Dragon. And then she switched over to Taito and did the music for the Ray series. So, you know, a lot of people think of her as being a member of Zuntata. You know, I mean, she did, you know, all those Ray games totally alone. So it's not really like Zuntata, it's just her. But around the time I moved to Japan, maybe a year or two after I came here, I discovered that she had sort of formed this unit with this girl, this singer, and was producing the music for her. And they call themselves Betta Flash. And it doesn't exactly sound like her old music. There's some of the electronic style. Sometimes I hear some things that are similar to Ray Storm and Ray Force. But really, you know, it's, I don't know, a Japanese Enya kind of sounding thing. But some of them are really, really good. So they've been there, I think, you know, every year. They were there last year. And they had a CD with some new music this year called Aruhi no Uta, which just means music on some day. So has 3 new tracks, so I bought those, bought this. And they are very calm. And that's not extremely surprising, but even more so than kind of some of the other Betta Flash. I did buy one of their CDs last year, and I was pleasantly surprised with it. It's, you know, again, I don't listen to a whole lot of this kind of like almost J-pop, you know, sort of, I'm not quite sure how to describe it. Not exactly ethereal, but, you know, I mean, it's video game influenced J-pop kind of. This one is like really down to earth, I think is the best way to describe it. I mean, the first song, called Tink, it's just very sentimental. It's just kind of a song about how much you love your partner, which I was not expecting really, but it's actually kind of nice. It's surprising. And they performed 2 of the 3 songs from this CD while they were there. I was there, thankfully. I got there in time for their performance. So that was really cool. It's amazing how little, like, you know, production quality this has. The insert is literally just a piece of paper that they've printed. But there is printing on the disc itself. It does say Aruhi no Uta on there. And this is just, you know, a lyric card. That's all. But it's amazing for me, you know, to see the progression of this person, you know, who's written music that's affected me so much. To still be doing music now, you know, 35 years later. Tamayo Kawamoto was a very early musician for Capcom. She was writing music when I was like a baby, like a baby. Like probably 83, 84. I think she did Son, which is like 84 or something. So she's been around for a long time. So, you know, I was really happy to get to see them live, of course. And there's only one last thing. I was conservative this year. I only bought 4 CDs for myself. The last one was something by Hayama Koji. If you've never heard that name, Hayama Koji wrote the music for the very notorious Cho Aniki games. Literally translates as Big Brother. I often call them the gay shooters. They're not specifically gay, they're just a little homoerotic. And he's been at the Tokyo Game Music Show also these last couple years. He was there last year and he was there again. So I bought something from him, of course, and it turned out to be a soundtrack to a new game on the Nintendo Switch called Macho de Pon. And it's some kind of bodybuilding simulator. Who could have made that up? Yeah, why'd they get Hayama Koji? Of course, why not? And I expected nothing from this. And it turned out to be amazing. Again, I've been blown away by this. Like, it's totally exactly the Cho Aniki style. It's exactly like it, but the quality is like really good. It's not a whole lot of music, you know, it's this little simulation game, so it's probably, you know, mostly like menu and minigame music. But like, I was just extremely surprised at how focused it all is, like how like strong and like forceful kind of the tracks are. Like he's still got it. Like it's exactly like the Cho Aniki sound, like with those weird like kind of corny voices. So the person who made this knew what they were getting themselves into, obviously, or maybe the person who worked on the game was like involved with Cho Aniki. I don't know. But again, this has been a very nice surprise, and it's that soundtrack, and because there's not a whole lot of music on that game, I think there's a few extra songs that he's including a few from a little live performance, I guess, where he was just playing the guitar and singing. And again, like, they're surprisingly good. I mean, the man's probably an amazing musician. It's just he did this weird soundtrack and it caught on, so he got stuck in that style, kind of. But he is wild. And I was just blown away. Again, last year, the same thing happened. I bought a CD from him just kind of like as an afterthought. That was a compilation of live performances. And it turned out to be the CD that I ended up listening to the most of anything that I bought there at the Tokyo Game Music Show last year. Like, they're crazy. Like, they're like strong, they're forceful. I cannot explain it. I've got to like ask him maybe if I could share a couple songs on YouTube or something, because they're totally off the charts. But I love it. It has been the CD that I've listened to the most since going to that event. And again, I've been shocked with the quality of what I got from Hayama Koji. So he's still at it, and this is really awesome. So I did actually only buy 4 CDs for myself at the Tokyo Game Music Show this year. I was pretty conservative, but you know, it's more about being there, you know, and meeting these people that I respect so much more than buying a whole bunch of stuff. So it was really fun for me. And there were a lot of other really famous people there. For example, Senoue Jun, who does a lot of music for Sega, you know, some of the Sonic Adventure music, was there. Yamada Ippo was there, who's done a lot for Capcom, for Curse of the Moon, which I really like. Gamadelic, of course, was there. They didn't really have anything new, so I didn't buy anything from them this time. But, you know, it's a big event for me personally. The live performances were definitely not as strong this year. I mean, there were hardly any, to be honest. They didn't have the stage set up for the bands to come up with instruments, I think. So, you know, Blind Spot or Gamadelic, they didn't perform. Furukawa Motoaki did not perform. Pretty much the only people who like performed like live music were Beta Flash, and that's because the music itself is synthesized, so it's all just pre-recorded, I think. Otherwise, it was just kind of like DJing or talk shows or that kind of thing. But, you know, I really had a great time there. So, you know, thanks a lot to the artists, you know, who are, you know, willing to talk to me and answer my stupid questions and listen to me fanboy off about how much I love their music and all of that. And also, one more big thing did happen that weekend in Tokyo. The very next day, I went to a live show, concert by this band called U Brand. U Brand is led by Uemura Tatsuya, which is where the name comes from, the U, who was the main composer for Total Plan back in the 80s and 90s. And hopefully the name Total Plan you all know. They made, you know, some of the most respected arcade shooters ever. Kyukyoku Tiger, called Twin Cobra in the West, Zero Wing, where that all your base are belong to us meme comes from, Truxton, of course, that's a really big one. And he put a band together about I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, quite a while ago, and they've been performing rock versions of music from Toaplan's games. That's pretty amazing. He's a guitarist, he's a rock and roller. So they've been arranging some of their songs for real live instruments and been doing concerts. So this is the second time I went. The first time I went was 5 years ago. It's been a very long time. I can't just go to Tokyo any old time. I'm not that close. But thankfully, he knew that people would be visiting Tokyo from various places because of the Tokyo Game Music Show. So he arranged to have a concert on the next day. So I got to go to that. It was in the afternoon, actually. And I'd been looking forward to this for so long because the first one was so amazing. And they always have like a hangout session afterwards where you can, kind of like chat with the band and stuff like that, because it's not like a whole lot of people going. I mean, Toaplan has, this insane, huge following all over the world, but it's just, it's a long time ago. It's 30 years ago, and, it's just, it's hard to get the information out there, I think. So not a whole lot of people go to these things. The first time I went 5 years ago, it was like 6 of us who were not like other, like people who knew them from like game development and that kind of thing. It was literally like 6 fans. So this time it was a lot more. They kind of rented out this little live house, this little bar, and we all, kind of got to go in there. It was, I don't know, maybe 40 people, between 40 and 50, but it was packed. I mean, it was this tiny little place, so we were just scrunched in there. But it was awesome. Got to hear some arrangements that I hadn't heard before. They did do Truxton, actually, even though that's not exactly music that lends itself to becoming rock. But they do have an arrangement of the first level from Truxton 1 and 2, Tatsujin 1 and Tatsujin 0. So that was really badass. And it was, it was just really cool. I didn't really buy a whole lot of stuff there. I didn't really buy anything there, but they did give out these kind of these badge pins to everybody who made reservations. So I did get that. It says U brand on there. So that's a cool little piece of memorabilia. And there's one other really big thing kind of that's going on related to that. There was another person who did a lot of music for Toaplan. His name is Masahiro Yuge. Masahiro Yuge wrote the music for both Tatsujin games, Grindstormer, Fire Shark, and he's always there at the concerts. So they're like, still involved. They're still friends. And I had heard on Twitter some time back that at their last performance back last July, Masahiro Yuge had made an announcement that he's developing a new Truxton game. He's going to make a third Truxton Tatsujin game. That's crazy huge news. So I've been really hoping that we were going to get some kind of update about that at this particular concert, because he's not really like putting out any screen caps or anything like that anywhere else. He just said that it is in the works. Some people may have also heard that there's been this recent news that M2 has agreed to port all of Toaplan's games to modern consoles starting this year. So that is also happening. He's involved with that because he owns the rights to all those now. And he said that a few of them would come out within the year. He said it's all happening. But I was really hoping for an update about Tatsujin 3. He didn't really have anything specific to tell us other than that it is happening, it's coming along smoothly, and he's gonna make it happen. So I was kind of hoping like get maybe screenshots or something, first. That didn't happen. I would say the most exciting announcement we got from him is he said he's writing the music for it. That is all I need to know, because his soundtracks are like my favorite. Like, he's like one of my favorite musicians ever. Basically, I can narrow it down to 3. Him, Tamayo Kawamoto, and Yamanaka Toshiya, who does the music for Bangayo and Sin and Punishment. But like, Masahiro Yuge is one of my favorite musicians ever, and he says he's going to do the music for it. So I'm extremely excited about that. So that pretty much is everything that happened to me while I was in Tokyo regarding video games. I had a blast at both events. Got to meet, some cool people, some people that I already know who I'm involved with from video games and game music. Met some new people, and discovered some new game music and just had a great time. So as always, everybody, thanks a lot for checking out these videos. Hope you're looking forward to the new Tatsujin game as much as I am, and I hope to see you in the next video.